showed two extremes. Barbie Land under a comical, full authoritarian matriarchy where the men have no power and no autonomy and girl bosses rule. And then Barbie under a comical, very extreme patriarchy where men dominate the women and literally kick them out of their Barbie dream homes. And in both of these instances,
but also the Barbies are unaware.
Yes.
That's what they're doing, just like men are unaware of the patriarch's existence.
It's complete satire of the real world, which is why them going to the real world and Ken bringing the patriarchy back is one of the funniest things in a movie I've ever seen.
This is the U.S. intelligence agency, Mind Control.
To the comment section. I'm Brett Cooper. I have some terrible news.
Can we talk about how much it annoys me that she pretends that she's streaming for her show?
Is that what the gimmick is?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do think the name is great though, for like, as far as like it being a Daily Wire product and like what they're offering, I think this really is the best they have.
Yeah.
Specifically for Ben Shapiro, because I did not hate Barbie.
Oh my God!
You guys know
I love
Ben. Ben and I are very different ages, and we like very different things. So it kind of makes...
By the way, there not only is there him reacting to it, but they also debate each other as well. They're really milking the Barbie content.
Yeah.
So they eventually... So this is going to close with them debating each other on the Barbie movie.
I'm still obsessed with the fact that he would have looked so angry watching Barbie as
the fact he's like, my producers are making me see this. It's like, why can't you just enjoy something, dude?
It's even funnier knowing that he was 100% wearing a yarmulke while doing it.
I was like the only guy when I went to go see it.
I think there was a couple.
It's funny because I was laughing at different shit that the girls were.
So was I. I found myself laughing at a few things that nobody else was.
The funniest shit was like when it cuts to Kenny's like playing the guitar, singing the song, and it's like the hard rock, like Creed song or something. It's like one of those era songs. Like that was probably one of the hardest things that I laughed at.
Sense we would have very different opinions about a movie about Barbies, but we did. I'm actually going to go on his show tomorrow.
My one criticism of the Barbie movie, there was one thing where I was like, eh. And it's when the mom meets the weird Barbie and she says, I had a weird Barbie, and repeats that they get weird because you play with them too hard. I was like, that's already been established.
It's already been established.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a weird Barbie. That's my only criticism in the movie.
To discuss it because the internet is so fired up about this. And I'm sure that you've seen literally every person on every single social media platform giving their take on this as if it's like the cultural, philosophical behemoth of the generation. It's really just a Barbie movie. But I'm going to add...
The opening was
it was great.
It shows that it's very self-aware that it is going to be like... Because that is like, you know, how the whole point when they're like, oh, men explain The Godfather, it's supposed to be like all movies are geared towards men, right?
Yes.
And so it's like, this is like the 2001 Kubrick of girl movies. And it was. Like just because it was supposed to be silly, it doesn't take away anything to me. Like, I don't care if a movie is trying to be serious or trying to be silly. And I just care about how well it executes what it's trying to do.
Yes. And I did tell you the opening scene was a banger, though, did I not? The 2001.
I don't remember. Did you catch the other Kubrick reference?
No, I think I missed the other one.
She's saying when they're explaining that, like, because they don't really explain the plot, you know, it's just like, oh, it was her drawing that brought Barbie to the world, and the daughter's like, are you shining with a Barbie doll right now?
Yes, I did. I remember that. I forgot that was Kubrick. That's funny though. Were there any others?
Those are the only two I noticed.
note and just give a disclaimer that I love Greta Gerwig, who directed the movie. I think that she is so talented. I have loved her for years. I actually wrote her a letter when I was still working in Hollywood, telling her how important her film Lady Bird was to me, and I desperately wanted to work for her. And I'm in SAG, so I would go to all of the SAG Q&As, like when she would do like a director's roundtable, and I was enamored by her. I think she's so talented. I loved Little Women. I loved her movie Frances Ha. Lady Bird, like I said, one of my favorite movies of all time. And it is important to note that all of these are female-driven films. Like Greta Gerwig does not lie about this. She is interested in the female human condition. And as a woman, I am too. I love female-driven projects, so I love her movies. I had that bias going into it. I already knew that I liked Greta Gerwig movies. But on the other hand, I don't really like Barbie. I never had a single Barbie. I never played with Barbie. My mom did not let me have Barbies because of the unrealistic body standards and the fact that, you know, she was all the girl boss BS. Like, I was a historical American Girl doll girl through and through. Those were like the only dolls that I had. So
that's really weird. It makes sense why you divorced your own parents, honey. I'm sorry for you. I mean, even I have played with Barbies because I had friends, you know, and like some of my friends were girls and they wanted to play Barbies. So you played Barbies with them because that's what they wanted to do because you're a good friend. So that's really weird. Did you also not have friends, Brett? That would make sense why you're at the Daily Wire.
That is what I felt going into the movie. I knew it was going to be silly. I went into it with an open mind, but those were my biases, just so that we were all on the same page. And you know what? I enjoyed it. And everybody that I was with enjoyed it too. My producer, who was sitting across from me, had a great time. I had no idea it was a musical, and I love musicals. So if you hate musicals, you definitely will not like it. But like, I loved La La Land, so that kind of gives you, a taste of what I enjoy. I could have a whole discussion about how, parts of the plot were pretty clunky, and the two different worlds didn't really make sense and didn't feel totally thought through, and the ending was way too long, and some of the dialogue was weird. But that has been done. I am also not a movie critic. I don't want to get into the critic. I don't care. I would rather talk about the political stuff because that's kind of why you guys are here, and that is what's going around on Twitter.
We got that out the way.
First of all, this is not a children's movie. It is PG-13. Everybody knew that it was PG-13, even though Barbie is a kid's toy. This is not a kid's movie. Ben made excellent arguments in his, very long review about why it's not good to watch with kids. But as a 21-year-old woman, I had an excellent time. So let's read what people had to say on Twitter who did not like it. Like Lauren Chen, who I love, said the Barbie movie literally has Ken try to bring the patriarchy, explicitly called the patriarchy, to Barbie Land and amend the Barbie Land constitution to remove Barbies from positions of power. The lengths the studio went to hide how insufferably woke this movie is astounding. Somebody else said,
well, you mean the primary pick-me conservative, it didn't like Barbie and missed the entire point of the movie?
When did they hide how woke it is?
Idiot.
When did they hide that?
Yeah. Also, it's not.
They're able to break even on this one, which is so...
That's the thing, is it's like, it's beyond woke because it's pushing a greater concept. Like, that's why it's funny when the whole meme is like that. It ends with them reading Ocelon. Because it's so far beyond woke and feminism and stuff that it actually crosses into the Ocelon category of things, where it's like complete gender abolition, you know, and like how it also brings men down and how Ken is good enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the ending is so good.
Come on, people.
Dude, it's so far beyond feminism.
Also, Barbie beat out the last female-led movie, which was Captain Marvel, by like a significant amount. So... I'm pretty sure they're making their money back.
Barbie had the biggest box office opening weekend in all of 2023 thus far, and they had the biggest opening weekend of all time for a non-sequel, non-superhero movie. It's a big deal. Pretending like pop culture is not important because you don't care is why we lose. You cannot ignore the fact that pop culture is happening all around you and that it infiltrates every aspect of your life. That is just a naive take. I'm very sorry. Elon Musk even jumped in and said, I took a tequila shot every time Barbie said patriarchy.
He has better editors as well. The fact that she's the two shots, the two camera shot where she can disguise the cut with the shot is awesome. And I think her background is really well done and really dynamic. I like even the fact that she doesn't even have something hanging on the wall, it's just leaning. The only thing I don't like is the color pattern on her little curtain here. The Beats headphones is very stylized. Like, I think she's doing everything so much better than everyone else at the Daily Wire, and she's doing it in her gamer chair. Like, it makes me feel like this is probably her house, even though I'm sure it's not. I'm sure this is a lit set. I'm sure these are actual high definition cameras.
Turkey only just woke up. Another person said, I can't believe I had to sit through the entirety of Barbie. It is the most feminist trash disguised as a comedy that
because they're fashionable.
Sure.
These look great. They're so fashionable. The white headphones with, you know,
I can think of. If you want to go see
He's
a movie,
also got the bisexual lighting.
see Oppenheimer, a movie that documents one of the most important events in modern history through incredible cinematography and soundtrack.
Both is good.
I have not seen Oppenheimer yet. I will. I don't love going to the movies enough to do both of them back to back. I could not do that. I would probably die inside, but I will go see it this week and I'll let you know what I think because there's a lot of discourse about that online too. This is madness. That'll be for another episode. Anyway, so yes. There were many uses of the word patriarchy, and politics were on full display.
There were about 8
but
uses.
That wasn't necessarily a bad thing all the time. Like the first scene, I will say, it's a bunch of young girls smashing their baby dolls because they can now have Barbies who, you know, teach them how to be something other than a mother, and that's so empowering. It's so amazing. Whatever. And I'll admit, when I saw that, I looked over at my producer Reagan, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like 2 seconds in,
That escalated quickly.
I was like writing it down on my phone. I was like, I'm going to hate this. Get me out of this theater. But that was probably the worst part. The rest of it felt like a very over-the-top satire and comedy.
It set the tone for the movie perfectly.
Satire right now. And it's funny seeing reviews not understanding its concept. Greta Gerwig did a fabulous job at mocking extremist woke culture.
Also, it was how the Barbies viewed their creation.
Yes.
It was it was the perspective of Barbie. I don't think you got that.
Extremist feminism and patriarchy while empowering women and healthy feminism. Lovely. Greg Price jumped in and said, just saw Barbie. It is one of the most insanely ridiculous and over-the-top depictions of gender roles I have ever witnessed that, contrary to what some conservatives are saying, I think it is accidentally the best critique of wokeness that we have seen in a movie. Maybe that was the intention the whole time. Maybe Greta Gerwig is actually having a balanced take on something. Another person said, saw it tonight. It was actually better than I thought. It dabbled in some extremes and satire, but came back to center and had some underlying messages that were fairly wholesome. From all the prior commentary, I expected to be disappointed, but instead had a few good laughs. The gist of the movie, you have a few good laughs, it's funny, it's colorful, it's very pink, you get up and you leave. That's it. And again, if you don't like pink and you don't like sparkly things, you probably won't like the movie, which is totally fine. I love pink and I love sparkly things, especially sparkly things like birch gold. Now, to put on my economist Barbie hat, basically sum up how...
There is no economist Barbie.
There wasn't. Also, apparently there was a trans Barbie that was like...
It's like the canceled Barbies, like Magical Earring Ken. Magical Earring Ken was canceled because there was like you know about this, like in the 90s, like if you had a certain ear pierced, you were gay.
Yeah.
And it was that ear pierced on Ken, and it also like he did look like that, like the outfit he had on and stuff. So it was one of the like it's one of the most expensive toys just because it was canceled so quick. Like it's easily the most expensive Ken doll, I bet. And then the TV Barbie, well, they didn't imply this, but it was a camera that you were putting around children, right?
Oh.
So they didn't so it's like you get like a creepy uncle's like, I got you this Barbie. And then another one, I don't know if it was Barbie, but they were these like things where you pull a cord and they shot up in the air and spun. I think it's Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
They fucking took kids' eyes out.
That's funny.
I feel about the movie. The movie showed two extremes. Barbie Land under a comical, full authoritarian matriarchy where the men have no power and no autonomy and girl bosses rule. And then Barbie under a comical, very extreme patriarchy where men dominate the women and literally kick them out of their Barbie dream homes. And in both of these instances,
but also the Barbies are unaware.
Yes.
That's what they're doing. Just like men are unaware of the patriarch's existence.
It's complete satire of the real world, which is why them going to the real world and Ken bringing the patriarchy back is one of the funniest things in a movie I've ever seen. Because he takes
how
it
that
to
hurts
the extreme and the stereotype of it. And it's like beer and mini fridges and foot rubs and calling your house four houses.
You want to know what was really crazy to me? The fact that it's like literally Margot Robbie crying through the entire movie.
Yes.
That's
did you know that Amy Schumer was meant to be Barbie? Can you imagine Amy Schumer as Barbie?
Sure
that would have been a nightmare.
She applied to be Barbie. What you have to understand is Mattel has a lot of projects in development. You know. So did you see this list where all the movies that they're
you sent it
create?
to me? Yeah. awful.
So these have been in development for a while. Like I said, they had a Stretch Armstrong movie they were going to do if Battleship did well.
Yeah.
So like the Polly Pocket movie is really far along as well. Like they have a director and writer and stuff, and they're constantly developing these projects. So this is just telling Mattel to fund projects and try to recreate the magic of Barbenheimer, which is not going to happen.
They're not going to.
I know.
They're all going to be flops.
Gender. They do not shy
But if this is the new meta over superhero movies and universes, I'm all for it.
I'm for it too. Original properties.
away from showing
no
how
sequels,
beaten
I'm
down the
here for
Ken.
it.
Well, Barbie is not an original property, and technically Oppenheimer, you could say, isn't either. You know, they're not really. Both are not original stories. So,
I mean, I would say this is a pretty original story for a Barbie movie.
Well, sure, yeah, it is. Did you know that they caused a global shortage of pink paint because they used so much in this movie?
Really?
Are, aka the men, when they have no autonomy and they're ignored by all the Barbies, aka the matriarchy. They show how upset Ken is, how much that impacts him. And that hurt and that anger is what causes the pendulum to completely swing and inspires them to try to overthrow the matriarchy and, put a very aggressive, over-the-top patriarchy into Barbie Land. This TikTok I saw has a similar take. This is exactly how I felt watching the movie. I think you guys will enjoy it. She's even worried about saying this because she's a conservative, which I think is funny.
I'm going to start by stating the obvious and saying what every conservative already knows. In today's climate, pretty much every movie is going to have liberal undertones or messages, and Barbie was no different. I know some are going to disagree with me, but I actually enjoyed the movie. I don't think that the liberal agenda went as far as it could have, and I actually appreciated that. First of all, the costumes and the sets were amazing. The level of detail that went into Barbie's dream house was absolutely incredible.
It was very cool.
I will say that I was a bit surprised to not be smacked in the face with a plot centered around gender identity or a character's sexuality.
This is an excellent point because
it's a PG-13 movie.
You know what my favorite part was? When he was throwing her clothes at her and they would stop in the air. It's like an advertisement.
Yeah, and they're all real
that was
things.
So funny.
Like all of the things were like real, like all of them were real Barbies and shit. Like
the movie was done so well.
It's funny because I knew enough Barbie history to get a lot of Barbie references in there.
Oh, that's funny. I thought it was done really well.
I think that you probably couldn't do a better Barbie movie. And trust me, I've seen a lot of Barbie movies.
A lot of people were rightfully worried about this. I mean, I was too. I did an entire review of the trailer 4 months ago and talked about a lot of the Barbie discourse. And one of the big talking points was about Hari Neff, who was playing one of the Barbies. Hari Neff is transgender. And Hari had talked a lot about, bringing transgenderism into
I didn't even
Barbie
notice.
Land, how important that representation was. And guys, it was literally never brought up in the movie. I forgot that Hari Neff was even in it. I was like, wait, which one is, genuinely had no idea until halfway through, which is a good thing. It was not shoved in our faces. That's positive.
I think it's important to remember that Barbie has always been about female empowerment. So of course that's going to be reflected in the movie.
That is another excellent point because yes, Barbie has always been about girl bossing. Barbie is the antithesis to the baby doll. So I think it was wrong for people to go into the movie expecting a bunch of traditional values or hoping for traditional values when that is not why Barbie was created. Barbie was created to be the opposite of that. So just know what you're getting into and be real about it.
Barbie has always told girls that they are capable of being whatever they want to be when they grow up. I was happy that the movie didn't go too far into the themes of modern day feminism because it didn't bring up anything about abortion or sexual empowerment or anything like that.
Imagine a PG-13 movie called Barbie.
If you walk into the theater looking to be offended, then you will be. But if you go into it wanting to enjoy a movie about women empowerment, I don't think that you'll be disappointed.
I don't even think that
I could easily spin it into the whole thing about how the pregnant doll was discontinued being about abortion.
Yeah, and then continually ignored through the movie.
Brain rot spin that.
Yeah.
What up, Daily Wire? Pay me.
Need to walk in wanting to watch a film about female empowerment to enjoy it. I think you can just walk into the theater wanting to enjoy something that is very culturally relevant about a cultural icon of, most of our childhoods and upbringing.
Also, the movie was definitely about gender abolitionist concepts.
Absolutely it was.
So it even went over their head. This is what I was saying. It's going over people's heads of how actual next wave it is.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that it really showed it by the fact that it swung so hard to the patriarchy from so hard in the matriarchy to the point where they're like, oh, maybe we should share the power and gradually bring men up to the same point as the Barbies, or the Kens up to the
But they
same point as the
they
Barbies.
also do that by waging a successful revolution.
Yes.
Really all it is. It's a fun, silly movie about a toy. It is basically a 2.5 hour long commercial for Mattel.
It's a fun, silly movie about a toy, but that doesn't mean it still doesn't have concepts that literally are on the level of deepness of a Stanley Kubrick movie.
Yeah.
A lot of singing and dancing and shirtless Ryan Gosling, which is totally fine. I have no problem with
They
that.
were
more
too
to that.
musical.
Intimidated
Most of
Squidward.
it
Try to
wasn't really
imagine him in
shirtless.
his underwear. Oh no, he's hot!
Somebody commented and said, yes, this is what I got too, not too political.
I appreciate. I know she's not cool enough to put the SpongeBob edits in, so like, it's definitely her editor who's cool. She definitely is the best editor out of Daily Wire. Her content is really well done.
Kind of agree.
What a social commentary. Somebody else said it reminded me so much of early 2000s movies like Legally Blonde or Mean Girls.
Oh,
which
Legally
are
Blonde
very
did it
fun and
better.
not problematic. Another person said, so agree. I took away from the message of female empowerment and the bond of a mother-daughter more than political views. Very impressed. And guys, not all female empowerment is bad. I know that
What about how the dad was pathetic and useless even until the end, and the dad in the real world didn't ever become useful? Did you guys not see that
I
one?
thought it was kind of funny. Yeah, they're like, oh, what about Dad? And it shows him struggling trying to learn Spanish, and he's like,
because
"That'll be fine."
his wife speaks it, and that's the funniest thing to me, because we all know that guy.
I
we criticize feminism. I know that we
laughed
criticize
out
toxic
loud at that
femininity
point,
for
and
valid
nobody
reasons,
else
but do
did.
not allow your hatred.
Yeah, no, the dad stuff was hilarious to me too. That's what I'm saying. Is like they even nailed stuff that because I literally was the only guy in the theater,
Mm.
and like I laughed loud, at like a few things.
Of those ideas and those cultural movements to make you angry at anything that uplifts a woman. Like, this was not rabid feminism, in my opinion. You can have a totally different opinion if you want, but do not allow that to make you angry at anything female empowerment oriented.
Well, that's just like...
She's not uplifted. She ends at a lower position than she starts.
The whole thing about her is this existential crisis of the stereotypical Barbie. That's the entire
There's
point.
literally no female empowerment.
No.
It's just gaslighting you into thinking that there is, because it's like that type of girl movie.
Your opinion, man.
But anyway,
they do at the end with Barbie's creator. That's all about female empowerment.
Yes.
But even then, she's like, they're like, and I hate taxes, which you would think they would love,
Well, I laughed so loud when she's like, and the IRS, but we won't talk about that. I laughed so loud. It was like
in
an out
the
loud
real world at the
Yeah. Were you the only guy in the theater?
pretty much.
Mattel headquarters, which are in the Barbie movie. There were also very funny critiques on wokeness that I feel like a lot of people are missing, and maybe I just picked up on it. Maybe I'm making it up in my head.
Including
I don't really
you,
know. But there was a whole scene where Will Ferrell, who plays the CEO of Mattel, and all the execs, they were sitting around and they were trying to catch up on the current thing. And they did this whole little monologue trying to prove how progressive they are, because there are a bunch of men running this company, and it was 110%.
Brett, that was not a critique on wokeness. It was a critique on capitalism. Moving on.
Tongue-in-cheek. It was very funny. It was probably one of my favorite moments of the entire movie, because it was so real. Because this is what these corporations do every single day. They're so desperate to appease this very small 1% of the population, and they're so scared. There was another point where they literally say that words like patriarchy are just made up BS to keep things interesting in society, to try to explain things, that it's not even real. It's just made up.
It's a total fabrication.
The relationship between America Ferrera's character and her daughter's character were very real and relatable. I saw a lot of people be very upset about that and say that it was toxic. It's like, if you...
The daughter, the entire time I was watching it, I was thinking of how, almost that she looks similar to Brett Cooper, and how we were going to be watching this after.
It's funny because I feel like the daughter is more of the critique on the woke person, that she is the woke person, right? In the movie, like the analog for that kind of person, if you think about it.
Age girl before? Have you never had an argument with your mother before? That's not toxic. That is just, real. Did not have a problem with that. And between that and the Ruth character, who created Barbie for her daughter in the real world and was in the movie, I actually thought that there were some great pro-motherhood sentiments in there. And then the last thing that I will mention is kind of a spoiler, so if you've not seen it yet, you can skip ahead,
Spoiler,
or if
you
you don't
just spoiled
care,
the Ruth
watch
thing.
ahead. At the end, even though, Ben was right in the end, dragged on for a long time and at points did not make sense and at points were a little bit cringe, Barbie chooses to leave Barbie Land and go back to the real world. She has seen the real world. She goes back to Barbie Land and she says, no, I don't want to stay here. I'm going back with you guys. Even after the matriarchy has been reinstated in Barbie Land,
No,
she chooses to go live in the real world that is allegedly...
no, the matriarchy doesn't get reinstated. It makes a joke about how women's suffrage barely got them anything. That was the joke, Brett.
so bad and so patriarchal. The complicated world that taught Ken that men are worth more than just being a woman's accessory. She left her perfect girl boss matriarchal world and chose the harder path so that she could have the human experience, therefore acknowledging that her perfect matriarchal Barbie Land is not as perfect as she once thought it was. She found out that the struggle and the complexity and the anxieties and the magic in the human world is what makes life worth living, which I think is a great message for everybody. Like, I feel like that ended the balance. Like, we saw the extremes and then she decides, no, I want this middle ground. It really is not as bad as everybody was making it out to be. So that is my review. I liked it. You can roast me. I do not.
How about here's stuff about gender and sexuality. How about the scene where they say, we don't have any genitals?
Not care. In general, like the TikToker said, I think that if you go into anything looking for problems and things that you don't like, you will find them and you will not have a good time.
All you have is a hammer. Everything looks like a nail.
So if you want to enjoy watching this movie, go into it with an open mind. Just go enjoy a silly movie. And if you do not like shirtless Ryan Gosling singing and dancing and doing musical numbers, and you don't like jokes about women crying in their beds watching the BBC adaptation of Pride and Prejudice, which is objectively the best adaptation, you will not like this movie. It is not for kids. It is not for middle-aged men.
When he goes, we have to climb over the cubicle. It's faster. Like, that is just like, that's peak Will Ferrell physical comedy, you know?
It is for women like me who love the BBC adaptation and played with baby dolls, and it is for this generation, and it is silly. And if you do not like that stuff, you probably will not like it.
And like, another thing is just like the casting as well. Like, I would not put like anyone else. Like, the mom and daughter could easily be replaced, but I think they had a very good combination. The mom is the weakest character, honestly, but like, I couldn't see anyone but Margot. I couldn't see anyone but Ryan Gosling. The Michael Cera character, absolutely perfect.
Fantastic.
As well. Couldn't see anyone but him. And then also Will Ferrell being the boss of Mattel. I could not see anyone. It's just like in the Lego movie, him being president business.
Yes.
Like, it's just like, he's perfect in that role.
Yeah.
Because it allows him, because some of his movies he tries to be a little too serious. Like Anchorman was funny, but then the second, like, it's like it relies too much on his comedy. But like, it's
more Zoolander-y than it is anything else, I think.
I hate Zoolander.
But that's his character, right? That's this character. I created the piano necktie.
I had something in my head, but it slipped.
Even without the political BS. And yes, it can be a bit heavy-handed with the satire and the social commentary at times, but I think that was the intent. And yes, the plot is not that strong, but it's a fun movie. Go wear pink. Don't feel bad about it. It's a good time.
Also, at the
Thank you for watching the comment section.
At the midpoint where Helen Mirren comes in and is like, casting Margot Robbie defeats this purpose, that got me as well.
Oh yeah, my mom liked that part.
That's another one that got me to do a laugh.
Yeah, because my mom didn't know who she was.
Oh, really?
Like, she was like, oh, who is this? And I'm like, oh, she's really popular. She's like one of the more like popular up and comers. But also, I hadn't seen her, honestly, because that's what's crazy about this is it's like, oh, it's a Barbie movie, and my thing is, it's like, oh, it was nice seeing Margot Robbie actually act for once.
Yeah,
and it's like, it's the Barbie movie, but like I'm seeing her, and like I'm like looking at like when I see something with I think the Barbie movie is so good, and it's not going to happen, but like I think it's worthy of Oscar nominations, even though it's not going to happen. Yeah. It's definitely probably going to go Golden Globes because they actually have culture.
Well, the Oscars are so shit. Like, fuck the
Oh
Oscars.
yeah, award shows in general are terrible.
They're just awful. But she did really well. Like, saying it's good to see her act. Like, she's done a lot of like a lot of her stuff is like Harley Quinn and stuff, which
Yeah, and I know
whatever.
she's been in like other stuff, but like I don't.
Wolf
I
of
don't
Wall
watch a lot
Street
of
was really
movies.
good.
Yeah, I didn't even know she was in that.
Yeah, she's the
until they like
wife.
directly said it in something that I was like,
Mm.
But yeah, like I don't really watch a lot of modern movies because I really hate being somebody who's like went to film school. I really hate modern movies. I liked Annihilation though. That movie was sick. That was probably the most recent modern movie I saw before this. Oh, I watched The Irishman with Martin Scorsese. That was
I
okay.
haven't seen that.
It's kind of boring, but like I would prefer to watch Annihilation over that. But my mom
Mm.
wanted to watch a movie, so we watched that.
Have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
No, don't care.
She was.
Oh yes,
she's
I
in,
have. Yes,
she's
I
in
have. I was
that.
thinking of
She's in
La
that.
La Land.
So yeah, she's in that. She's really good in
Oh
that.
yeah,
as
she
well.
plays the girl who gets married.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw
she's only
that.
in it for a little bit, but she's pretty good in that.